After the second season releasing, it's difficult to find a person who would not have heard about this show. And this is not only because of the interesting plot, but also because of the very spectacular scenes. How are all those huge scenes filmed behind the scenes? Let's find out. Cracklex with you, and in this video I will tell and show you what the scenes from Squid Game look like behind the scenes. In the first episode, Daruma Sanga Karanda, also known as the game The Slower You Go, the farther you'll get. The actors recall that the atmosphere on set was mesmerizing. They were instantly imbued with the feeling of being in the game itself. A huge robot doll known as Young-hee became the symbol of the Squid Game. It was her presence on the set that made the filming unforgettable.
인상적인 건 무궁화 꽃이 피었습니다. 세트장이 CG가 많이 되긴 하지만 긴장감이 있습니다. 확실히.
The crew created a huge, incredibly realistic set surrounded by fences to convey a sense of isolation. About 400 people participated in the game, and the cast actually sang the Young-hee song, which added realism and tension to the scene. The actors admit that the tense moments when the players froze in place were genuinely lived. It was both fun and creepy. The game of the second episode, Six-Legged Pentathlon, was inspired by traditional Korean sporting events. The participants linked their legs together to move as a team. The set, stylized as a school sports ground of the 70s, created an atmosphere of nostalgia. The set designers recreated school bulletin boards, desks, and even old chairs. The actors had to work in full interaction, which made the play not only complex, but also truly dramatic. In the third episode, the Dakji game, a Korean cardboard card game, was dictated by the simplicity of the game and its accessibility. Although the filming seemed simple, it was a challenge for the actors. They had to practice for hours to learn how to throw the cards correctly until experts showed up on set.
게임을 제가 골랐던 이유는 가장 단순하고 어디서든 할 수 있고 많은 것이 필요 없는 게임이었고요.
The sets for this game surprised everyone with their scale and attention to detail. The actors played in real conditions, without the use of graphics, which added authenticity to the scenes.
꼭 넣고 싶었던 게임이었어요. 원래 이제 그게 제가 유치원, 초등학교 때부터 하던 거잖아요.
One of the most impressive sets was a huge dome with a rotating platform in the fourth episode called Mingle. The contestants stood on a platform that began to rotate, and the whole action took place inside a giant circular structure resembling a hotel. Interestingly, the filming was done without the use of computer graphics. The team built a real rotating mechanism, and the participants experienced real physical sensations during the filming. The most spectacular shot was the view from above, where the struggle of the participants resembled cell division. The creators paid attention not only to the games, but also to the general concept of the series. For example, the symbolism of the rainbow appearing in the sets is associated with the hope for a better life after death. The coffins used in the series were made to look like gifts by tying ribbons around them. This was to emphasize the eerie contrast between the appearance and the tragic nature of the events. The main task of the second season was not only to recreate the atmosphere beloved by the viewers, but also to surprise them. The scriptwriters tried to show that the expectations of the viewers and the participants themselves can be deceived. The entire team, from actors to designers, put their heart and soul into making each play look and feel like the real thing. The creators of the second season of the Squid Game emphasized realism, minimizing the use of computer graphics. This decision added authenticity to the scenes, which was felt not only by the audience, but also by the actors themselves. But when did CGI become necessary? Despite the desire to maximize naturalness, there were times when CGI was necessary. For example, CGI was used for large-scale shots of the cast. Although there were really up to 400 people on set, scenes with thousands of participants were supplemented with graphics. This allowed the feeling of an infinite number of players to be conveyed. For example, the carousel game used graphics to enhance the spinning and add the illusion of danger. Blood effects, falls from heights, and minor elements were refined in post-production to make the scenes more dynamic and shocking. No graphic enhancement was applied to the cart scenes. The cards were actually thrown on the set. More complex movements were performed by guest experts, and footage of their hands was carefully integrated into the editing to create the illusion of the actor's skill. The authors tried to keep the spirit of the first season, but add new challenges and diversify the concept. Unlike the first season, the focus shifted to psychological tension. The game was technically complicated. Young-hee could now not only look, but also rotate faster. In addition, new camera angles were added to show the emotions of the participants in close-up. In the new season, team games became the centerpiece. Six-legged pentathlon required not only physical strength but also coordination from the players. This added drama. When one team lost synchronization, it had tragic consequences. The new games were designed to increase the tension. Whereas in the first season the contestants managed to get by in minutes, in the second season time was limited to the limit, demanding the utmost concentration from the contestants. Some games added additional unexpected twists and turns. For example, in the Menko game, after first wins, the losers could compete again, but with harder conditions. While the first season focused on individual qualities of the participants, the second season emphasized team dynamics. The huge mechanical doll Yum he used in the first episode sometimes malfunctioned. During the Daruma Sangakuranda scene, her head jammed and she started spinning erratically, scaring the actors. Filming on the rotating platform was a real challenge. Some actors admitted to feeling dizzy, and several takes had to be reshot because the actors couldn't keep their feet up. Many scenes were filmed on outdoor sets, and the weather sometimes interfered with the process. One day there was a strong wind on the set, which almost blew the sets away. The actors had to run with umbrellas between takes to protect themselves from the rain. Filming with a cast of hundreds of people was a real challenge. In one of the scenes of six-legged pentathlon, the participants, bound by their legs, started to tangle and fall on each other, creating a domino effect. This was not planned, but it was so funny that the director decided to leave some of these moments in the final version. A lot of stuff is repeated from the first season, so some of the behind the scenes will be from the first part as well. What was the most tense scene in the show for you? Well, one of those scenes is the Tug of War scene, but apart from being a tense scene, it was also a real challenge for the actors. Creating this scene required a lot of preparation from the team because it was necessary not only to convey the tension, but also to ensure the safety of all the participants. A lot of things were built from scratch. Elevated platforms, located dozens of meters opposite each other, created a sense of danger and risk, which was felt not only by the characters but also by the actors themselves. Although the platform was only a few meters off the ground, the actors did feel fear, especially those whose characters had to fall. Despite the padded boxes and safety net below, the emotional and physical discomfort remained unrelenting. Every moment of this scene, from the sweat on their faces to the tension in their muscles, was absolutely real because the actors were not just acting, but truly struggling on set. To create this tension, the directors carefully thought out every detail, from lighting to camera work, and the computer graphics added to the epicness of the scene. However, no visual effects could replace the real struggle that the actors were engaged in. They had to expend tremendous physical effort to not only convey the spirit of competition, but also to convincingly show the fear of a possible fall. The very Tug of War, seemingly a simple children's game, in this series has become evil. Have you already tried making dalgona cookies at home? It's very simple, by the way. You only need sugar, leaving agent, and spices. But that's not what we're talking about right now. For the honeycomb episode, the show's creators invited a real-life street vendor from Seoul to the set. He helped prepare all the props. Can you imagine how popular his products are now? Even though it is sold only in the Korean capital, they say the vendor complains that he just does not have time to cook cookies because of so many customers now. The game with the glass bridge partially resembles the rules of Tug of War because in case of defeat, the hero is eliminated from the game, also dying from hitting the ground. According to the story, the distance from the bridge to the ground was very large, but on the set, of course, everything was different. Despite the use of computer graphics to create the illusion of immense height, most of the sets were real, including the glass panels themselves. Every detail of the set was carefully considered to create maximum tension while ensuring the safety of the actors. Jung Ho-yeon, who played the role of Kang Sai-byok, revealed that filming this scene was scary. By the way, this role was Jung Ho-yeon's movie debut. But back to the scene, the actors were really jumping on the tempered glass. There was no fragile glass on set. Instead, the actors landed on a small platform, which immediately went out from under their feet. That is, the actors literally felt the sensation of falling down. Hence the unplayed emotions of fear, and the scene in which Sang-woo pushes down the glazier, player number 17, was filmed differently. It was no longer 1.5 meters to the ground, but more, and the actor had to fly down with a safety net. Before filming began, the participants were experiencing serious stress, which did not leave them in the process of working on the scenes. The episode itself was so difficult and psychologically exhausting that the actors, showing hesitation and fear, unwittingly added additional realism to their characters. When it came time for a large-scale rendering of exploding glass steps, the team didn't resort to computer graphics to create the glass shards, except for the ones that seemed to harm the players and flew towards the camera. In fact, they went further and created the entire episode in the studio. These practical effects look unrealistic on set. No wonder it results in such a powerful and stunning visual effect in the episode. There was very little glass exploding next to the actors when they were filmed. It really feels slow motion in the way the actors act. After shots of the trio were taken, each of them were able to work on close-ups and one-liners. It may be a brief moment, but many hours were spent capturing every nuance and angle. The use of special effects, computer graphics, and incredible actors really contributed a lot to making the production such a high-quality production. Which play pisses you off the most?